He who learns to be silent learns to rule himself. Marcus Aurelius. There is a moment, quiet, subtle, and often unnoticed, when the most powerful decision you can make is not to speak, not to react, not to reveal what's burning inside you. That moment is the birthplace of true strength. Silence has always been misunderstood in our age. People think silence is weakness, that to be silent is to be unsure, to lack confidence, to be intimidated. But the ancient philosophers knew better. To them, silence was not emptiness, it was control. The world we live in today praises noise. It rewards the loud, the impulsive, the constantly visible. Every moment is an opportunity to post, to respond, to react, to prove you exist. But in doing so, people have forgotten how to be, to stand still in their own company and listen to the sound of their own thoughts. Socrates once warned, "The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be." Yet how can one become that if every thought, every plan, every insecurity is laid bare before it has matured? Silence gives your thoughts the chance to grow roots. When you share everything prematurely, your goals, your dreams, your anger, you scatter your energy like seeds thrown in the wind. But when you keep them close, you water them with patience. You let them take form, and when they finally emerge, they are unstoppable. In ancient Greece, young philosophers were trained not only to speak, but to remain silent. In the Stoic schools of Athens, silence was a rite of passage. Before a student could debate or teach, he was first required to master the art of listening. Epictetus, the Stoic slave-turned-scholar, used to say, "Nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we might listen twice as much as we speak." To be silent is not to be passive. It is to observe, to understand, to prepare. In the silence, the wise man gathers information. He listens to others' mistakes. He reads between the lines. He senses intent. While others speak to be heard, he listens to gain power. This is why ancient warriors were trained to wait, to strike not when anger told them to, but when reason did. The true battle was not fought with swords. It was fought with restraint. The one who could hold back, who could think before reacting, often controlled the battlefield before a single arrow flew. The silence of kings. Think of Alexander the Great, a conqueror of empires, but also a student of Aristotle. In every war council, Alexander was known to remain quiet longer than anyone else. He would listen to every general speak, watch their eyes, measure their confidence. And only when the room fell silent, when everyone had revealed their thoughts, would Alexander finally speak. When he did, his words were decisive. That's the essence of power, not to speak often, but to speak with weight. The same pattern appears across centuries. In Rome, Julius Caesar was feared not just because of his armies, but because of his ability to conceal his thoughts. His silence made others reveal themselves. The Senate never knew what he was planning, and that fear was his greatest weapon. Even in the East, this wisdom echoed. In ancient China, Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, "Be silent and obscure, and you will be safe. Keep your plans dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like thunder power. In its purest form is quiet." Modern noise, ancient lesson, fast forward to today. Everyone is talking. Few are saying anything of value. People fear silence. They fill every second with scrolling, with music, with chatter. They are terrified of facing their own emptiness. But you, the one watching this, must not follow that path. You are not here for entertainment. You are here to rise. Let others chase dopamine. You will chase discipline. Let others react. You will reflect. Let others speak. You will act. Silence is your weapon in a noisy world. It separates the thinker from the herd. When others overshare their goals, you stay silent and achieve. When others argue online, you stay calm and study. When others waste energy proving themselves, you conserve yours for greatness. The animal lesson. Nature's silence. In the wild, the lion does not roar before it hunts. The eagle does not scream before it strikes. Power moves quietly, efficiently, without announcement. Noise belongs to the weak, to those who must advertise their worth. The powerful, like the tiger crouching in the grass, conserve energy until the right moment. Then, in one motion, they dominate. Every successful person you admire, every true leader, artist, warrior, or thinker, learned the same lesson: to hold back when it's easy to react, to remain silent when provoked, to think longer than others are willing to.
The repercussions of breaking silence. When you reveal too much, your emotions, your intentions, your vulnerabilities, you hand people the tools to destroy you. Enemies use your anger against you. Friends, even unconsciously, may limit you because they know your fears. And society thrives on distraction, wants you to keep talking so you never create. But when you master silence, the world becomes confused. They can't read you. They don't know what you're planning. And that uncertainty becomes your shield. Silence is not the absence of noise. It's the presence of control. How to practice the discipline of silence. 1. Observe before reacting. Every situation offers information before it demands response. Learn to pause. Let silence become your first language. 2. Speak with intent. If your words don't move you closer to your purpose, they're a waste. Ask, does this need to be said? If not, keep it within. 3. Protect your inner circle. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Keep your ambitions private until they are ready to stand on their own. 4. Embrace solitude. Spend time each day without noise. No phone, no music, no chatter. Just you and your thoughts. That's where clarity lives. 5. Let results speak for you. When you win, you won't need to announce it. The world will see. True power never needs an introduction. Philosophical reflection. Aristotle wrote that virtue is the balance between excess and deficiency. Silence, therefore, is the balance between cowardice and arrogance. Too much silence, and you become invisible. Too little, and you become predictable. The art is in knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. Socrates chose silence in the face of death, not because he feared the court, but because he understood that truth speaks louder than defense. He accepted his fate with calm, knowing that silence could echo longer than argument. That is Stoic strength. It's not about resisting pain. It's about mastering reaction. Real-world example. Consider Nelson Mandela. In his 27 years of imprisonment, silence was his most powerful tool. He didn't waste words complaining or cursing his captors. He listened, observed, and waited. And when the time came, he spoke, not with anger, but with vision. That's why his voice carried nations. You must learn from this. Let your silence prepare you. Let your restraint sharpen you. Because when the time comes for you to speak, your words will carry the weight of your discipline. Closing reflection. In the end, silence is not retreat. It is command. It is knowing that you don't have to respond to everything. That real confidence is quiet. That real growth happens in the unseen hours. And when the time comes, you won't need to announce who you are. The world will already know. So as we close this first chapter of your journey, remember, the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. The calmest is. And when you rise, rise in silence. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Michael Hopf. We live in the age of pleasure, and it is killing us. Not with swords or fire, but with comfort. not with chains, but with convenience. The greatest prisons of our time are not built from stone. They are made of screens, soft couches, and endless entertainment. The ancient world feared pain. The modern world fears boredom. Every generation before us fought to survive, but we fight to stay awake. We drown in comfort. We chase pleasure as if it were purpose. And every time we catch it, it disappears faster than before. The seduction of ease. Pleasure is deceptive. It promises fulfillment, yet delivers emptiness. It tells you, you deserve to rest when you have not yet begun. It whispers, you've earned it, when you've done nothing worth remembering. The Stoics warned us, pleasure, when pursued for its own sake, turns into slavery. Epictetus said that every pleasure has a master, and if you cannot say no to your impulses, you are not free. The modern man has confused happiness with comfort. He thinks that to feel good is to live well. But the ancients knew the truth. To live well is to live with purpose. And purpose is never comfortable. The ancient warnings. Aristotle once wrote that virtue lies in the golden mean, between excess and deficiency. Courage lies between cowardice and recklessness. Temperance lies between abstinence and indulgence. Wisdom lies between ignorance and arrogance. Pleasure, then, must be mastered, not worshipped. In ancient Rome, when emperors triumphed in battle, a slave would whisper behind them, "Memento mori, remember, you are mortal." Why? Because victory breeds pleasure, and pleasure breeds pride, and pride is the seed of downfall. They understood that too much pleasure destroys discipline. It blinds you to consequence. It numbs your hunger for greatness. And that's exactly what's happening today. We're living in Rome before the fall, drunk on pleasure, distracted by spectacle. The modern slavery of pleasure. Look around you. Young men waste their strength chasing fantasies through screens. They scroll through lives they'll never live, faces they'll never meet, achievements they'll never attempt. Each swipe gives them a drop of dopamine, a spark of pleasure, and steals a piece of their willpower. They say, just one more video, just one more scroll, just one more night. And soon, they've traded their dreams for distraction. The Stoics would call this voluntary enslavement. You do not need chains when you have addiction. You do not need masters when you built your own cage. Pleasure is supposed to serve you, not rule you. The repercussions of the modern addiction. A man who cannot delay gratification is like a warrior who throws away his sword before the battle. He has no defense, no endurance, no direction. When you seek pleasure constantly, you lose your sensitivity to it. The more you indulge, the less you feel. You must go deeper and deeper into excess just to experience the same rush. That's why so many people today feel hollow. Their souls are overfed but undernourished. They have everything, but nothing means anything anymore. Look at the world around you. Drugs promise escape, but they deliver dependence. Lust promises connection, but it breeds emptiness. Social media promises attention, but it leaves you unseen. Fast food promises joy, but it destroys the body. Every pleasure, when abused, becomes poison. The animal mirror. In nature, animals only eat when hungry. They sleep when tired. They fight when threatened. There is no addiction, only instinct. But humans, with all our intelligence, have corrupted instinct into indulgence. We no longer eat to survive. We eat to feel. We no longer work to grow. We work to impress. We no longer rest to recover. We rest to escape. The lion grows strong by hunting. The eagle learns patience through hunger. Even the ant knows that summer is for labor and winter is for rest. But man scrolls, complains, and calls himself a victim. We are animals who forgot how to live, philosophers trapped in cages of pleasure. The path out, Stoic redemption. The path out of this cycle is not denial. It is discipline. Discipline is the art of mastering desire, not destroying it. You don't need to reject pleasure completely. You need to own it. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, ruled the world's mightiest empire. Yet he slept on the floor to remind himself that comfort weakens the soul. He practiced hunger, fatigue, and simplicity so that when hardship came, it found him ready. That is the Stoic way. To train your body for discomfort. To train your mind for temptation. To train your soul for meaning. Pleasure must bow to purpose. Desire must kneel to discipline. Only then can you be free. The modern application. 1. Fasting, the rebellion against excess. Go without something you crave, not to punish yourself, but to prove control. Skip a meal. Take a cold shower. Leave your phone behind. Every time you say no to your impulses, you reclaim power from the world. 2. Work, the highest form of discipline. Not mindless labor, but meaningful work. The Greeks called it eurete, excellence. When you give your best effort to something worthy, pleasure becomes secondary. The goal is not to feel good, it's to become good. 3. Purpose, the replacement for pleasure. Find something greater than yourself. Creation, service, mastery. Pleasure fades. Purpose doesn't. 4. Observation, learn your weaknesses. You cannot fix what you ignore. Track what wastes your time. Measure what drains your focus. Confront it without excuse. Awareness is the first act of rebellion. 5. Simplicity, the Stoic aesthetic. Own less. Desire less. The less you own, the less owns you. When you stop chasing pleasure, peace will chase you. The real-life parallel. In the late 20th century, Viktor Frankl, survivor of Nazi concentration camps, wrote Man's Search for Meaning. He observed something powerful. Those who survived weren't the strongest or even the healthiest. They were those who found purpose, meaning beyond suffering. While others died in despair, they lived on purpose. Pleasure cannot carry you through pain. Only purpose can. That is the lesson we must reclaim. The ancients knew it. The wise have always known it. But we, intoxicated by comfort, have forgotten the reward of discipline. When you deny pleasure, something incredible happens. You begin to feel alive again. Colors sharpen. Time slows down. Your focus returns. Because now, you are the master of your own attention. You don't chase happiness anymore. You create it. Every sacrifice strengthens you. Every act of discipline becomes armor. And when others crumble under the weight of temptation, you will stand. Because you trained for it. You faced your weakness before it faced you. That is freedom. That is power. That is the reward for saying no. Philosophical closing. Plato taught that the soul has 3 parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. When appetite rules, chaos follows. When spirit rules, war follows. But when reason governs, harmony returns. Your mission in life is not to kill your desires. It's to govern them. You are the ruler of your mind, not its servant. Pleasure will always whisper. But you must learn to smile and walk past it, because you have kingdoms to build. The world will not stop tempting you. Every notification, every image, every indulgence is designed to keep you small, distracted, and soft. But the man who can stand in the midst of temptation and say, "Not today," he becomes untouchable. So as this chapter closes, remember, pleasure is not evil, but slavery to pleasure is. You were not born to be entertained. You were born to evolve.
There comes a point in every man's life when the noise of the world becomes unbearable, when the endless chatter of opinions, the flashing lights of false pleasures, and the chaotic symphony of expectations begin to feel like chains tightening around the soul. That moment, my friend, is not a curse. It's a calling, a quiet whisper from the ancient part of you that still remembers who you were before the world told you what to be. The ancients knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Yet today, solitude is treated like exile. To be alone is seen as strange, as if silence itself is a disease. But in truth, solitude is the birthplace of strength, creativity, and power. It is where the mind returns home. The forgotten art of being alone. To master solitude is to master yourself. In solitude, you are stripped of masks. There is no audience, no validation, no applause. You stand face to face with the raw reality of your own mind. This is why most people run from it. They fill their days with endless noise, music, gossip, scrolling, distractions, anything to drown out the voice that asks, "Who am I becoming?" But those who dare to stay, who dare to sit in silence, begin to hear something else, not the echo of fear, but the rhythm of truth. Socrates would walk the streets of Athens, seemingly lost in thought. His students often wondered what he was pondering so deeply. One day he told them, "I am conversing with myself." This was not madness, it was mastery. For to converse with oneself is the highest form of dialogue, the conversation between the conscious and the divine within. Solitude and the warrior spirit. Think of the great warriors of old, the samurai, the Spartans, the Stoics. Before battle, they did not drown themselves in noise. They withdrew into stillness. They trained not only their bodies, but their minds to be unmoved by chaos. Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This power of calm reaction is born in solitude, when you have faced your own mind, your fears, your impulses, your doubts. Then the world can no longer shake you. Solitude is the forge where warriors are made. It is in quiet moments, away from distraction, that vision is born. Alexander the Great would often spend hours in isolation before major campaigns, not in despair, but in deep contemplation. He sought clarity, the kind of vision that no advisor could give. Why modern men fear solitude? We live in a world of constant connection, yet growing emptiness. Every second is filled with noise. Social media, entertainment, notifications, each designed to keep us away from ourselves. Why? Because solitude forces confrontation. When you are alone, the illusions fade. You see your wasted time, your hidden insecurities, your unfulfilled dreams. And that truth terrifies most people. They prefer the comfort of distraction over the discomfort of self-awareness. But as the Stoics remind us, comfort breeds weakness. If you want power, you must walk into the silence willingly. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. And sometimes the one who makes you better is not another person. It's the version of yourself waiting for you in solitude. The alchemy of isolation. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is fullness, the fullness of your own being. When you sit alone long enough, something begins to shift. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions settle like dust in still water. And beneath the turbulence, you find a current, steady and deep, the essence of who you are. This is the secret all great philosophers discovered. Plato withdrew from public life after Socrates' death, not in defeat, but to establish the academy, a sanctuary of wisdom. Buddha left the palace of indulgence to meditate under the Bodhi tree, alone, until enlightenment came. Jesus went into the desert for 40 days before beginning his ministry. Each of them knew you must conquer the inner world before you can impact the outer one. The inner dialogue, meeting the self. Most people live their entire lives surrounded by others, yet never meet themselves. They wear roles, employee, friend, lover, parent, but never stop to ask, who am I without these titles? In solitude, those masks fall away. You begin to see your raw self, your fears, your desires, your strengths, and your flaws, and from that awareness comes transformation. Carl Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole by integrating all parts of the self, even the shadow. The shadow is what we repress: anger, jealousy, weakness, lust, regret. But when you confront it in solitude, it loses power. You realize these emotions are not enemies, but signals, guides toward balance. Like the yin and yang, darkness and light coexist. To deny one is to remain half alive. Practical solitude, turning isolation into strength. To truly master solitude, you must turn it into practice. Here's how. 1. Daily withdrawal. Spend at least 30 minutes each day without phone, music, or people. Sit in silence. Let the mind wander and observe it. Over time, thoughts will quiet and insights will rise. 2. Nature immersion. The ancients saw nature as the mirror of the soul. Walk among trees, mountains, rivers. Observe their patience. Their stillness will teach you more than any book. 3. Journaling. Marcus Aurelius' meditations were not written for others. They were his private reflections. Write your thoughts. Record your weaknesses, your triumphs, your gratitude. Over time, this becomes a map of your evolution. 4. Controlled discomfort. Occasionally, deny yourself comfort. Skip entertainment. Avoid gossip. Fast from social media. Every act of restraint strengthens willpower, the muscle of self-command. 5. Creative solitude. Use your alone time to build, write, design, plan, invent. Solitude gives birth to creation. Every masterpiece began in silence. The reward, inner freedom. Once you master solitude, the world loses its hold on you. You become unshakable. No insult can wound you deeply. No rejection can break you. No flattery can blind you. Because you have met yourself, and that self is enough. The Stoics called this ataraxia tranquility of the soul. It is not the absence of struggle, but peace amid it. When others chase noise, you will move in silence. When they crave approval, you will act from principle. When they fear loneliness, you will find power in your own company. And that, my friend, is freedom. Remember this: solitude is not a retreat from the world, but a return to yourself. Every moment spent in silence is a step toward sovereignty, the ability to rule your own mind. So take time to disconnect, sit in stillness, face yourself. And when you rise, rise as one who knows peace cannot be given by the world, because it already lives within. If this message awakened something in you, subscribe to this channel. Join a brotherhood of thinkers, builders, and seekers of truth. Like, share, and leave your reflections below. Your words may awaken another. This is the Mind of Power, and your journey has only just begun.